It started with glances, quick, unspoken, too brief to be anything, too often to mean nothing. A tangerine flicked across the courtyard, an arm brushed in the dark. They never talked about any of it, but it was there. Then came the fall, no warning, followed by a kiss. Eugene didn't pull away, and Han didn't forget. This is the moment after, where silence gets louder, and questions begin to take shape. This is Beneath the Tangerine Trees, Chapter 4. I tried to ask, I did, just not out loud. The light had changed. It was warmer now, low and angled, cutting across the trees in thin lines. The kind of light that softened things, made even the quiet look like it was glowing. Han stayed still. One hand was pressed into the grass beneath him. The other hovered just above Eugene's chest. Not quite touching now, but close enough to feel the heat of it. He hadn't meant to land that way, hadn't planned any of it. But his mouth, it had found Eugene's, and Eugene hadn't stopped him. They weren't speaking, not yet, just breathing in the same space. Han sat back slowly, one movement at a time. His knee caught on a root, and he used it as an excuse to look down, to focus on something other than the space between them. Eugene blinked, still not saying anything. His lips were slightly parted. Han smiled at him, just barely, and then let the smile fade, not because he was hiding it, but because it had already done its part. The orchard was still, no wind, just the thick weight of air and the smell of fruit hanging ripe on the trees. For a moment, nothing moved. Then Eugene stood, brushed off his pants. Not rushed, just quiet, composed. Han stayed sitting a little longer, watching, thinking, then got up too. And before he could change his mind, he reached out and hugged Eugene. No warning, no question, just both arms, wrapped, chin to shoulder. Eugene made a sound, startled, half laugh, half protest. Han didn't let go right away. He spoke into Eugene's ear, voice low. Bet you didn't see that coming. Eugene pulled back, hands on Han's chest now, not pushing hard, just creating space. Han grinned. What? He said, eyes bright. I thought it was perfect. Eugene squinted at him. One sharp, questioning look, eyes narrowing like a dare. Han winked. Then you kiss me next time. Eugene's expression shifted. He tried not to smile. But he failed. They took the same path back, but nothing about it felt the same. The trees stood taller somehow, their shadows longer, their branches fuller. Even the air was different, warmer, closer, as if the space between leaves and skin had narrowed. They didn't talk, they didn't need to. Each step felt like it belonged to a moment just before a thought, and neither wanted to be the one to break it. Han walked half a pace slower, not falling behind, just matching, adjusting. His eyes flicked to Eugene's hand, once, then again. It moved easily at his side, fingers curling and loosening with each step. The kind of swing that invited, but didn't ask. Han didn't take it. He just let the thought linger between one breath and the next. They passed a stretch of trees where the ground dipped slightly, A familiar bend. Earlier, they rushed through it, laughing, pretending to race. Now, their steps quieted. Somewhere a bird called once, then stopped. A few leaves trembled above them. The crates were gone, only flattened grass remained, and a single tangerine peel, half curled like a coma. Eugene didn't look at it. He was looking forward, not far, not fixed, just forward. Han slowed near the road. The sun had dropped below the canopy now, casting the sky in a cool lavender haze. Not quite twilight, not yet. They reached the open dirt where the trees gave way to the world again. The road ahead was empty, quiet. Even the wind had softened. Han turned slightly and asked, "You want to go to the beach tomorrow?" No answers right away. Then Eugene replied, "Sounds good." And a half smile, quick and crooked, before it disappeared. Their arms brushed, a subtle press, not firm, not fleeting. No reaction, no pulling away. The silence between them wasn't heavy, it was full, like something had landed, and neither of them wanted to set it down just yet. The morning air had shifted, warmer, less shy. The kind of morning that hummed with something unspoken, like even the trees knew where the day was heading. Han had been up for a while. He checked the sun twice, refilled his water bottle. He lingered outside the bathroom door, leaned against the wall, then tapped lightly. "You alive in there?" From inside, Eugene's voice, still low and half asleep. "Just a few more minutes." Han sighed, but smiled to himself. He peeled a small tangerine from the kitchen bowl, juice sticking slightly to his fingers. Behind the door, water shutting off, a drawer sliding, then silence. Finally, Eugene emerged. Hair damp, shirt half buttoned. "I forgot my swimsuit," he said flatly. Han blinked. "Seriously?" Eugene shrugged. "It's probably in my laundry bag. I'll find it. Just wait." He turned towards the beds. Han tossed the tangerine peel in the bin. He waited and waited, shifted his weight, patted his pockets, counted to 10, twice. Still no Eugene. Finally, Han crossed the room, stepped close, and gently took Eugene's wrist. "Let's go." Eugene looked up, one sock half on, hand deep in a duffel. "You can swim in your shorts," he said, grinning. "Or don't. We'll match." Eugene stared at him. "What? It's not like I haven't seen yours." Eugene now caught somewhere between tired, surprised, and amused. Then he laughed. "Okay, just my socks, promise. Just 1 minute." After quiet moments and hesitant preparation, they left the cabin behind. The path to Woljeongni Beach stretched before them, a gentle invitation to something new. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of salt and pine. Between them, unspoken words hovered lightly, carried away by the breeze. The water was muted blue-gray, gentle waves curling lazily beneath a low sky heavy with soft clouds. Eugene walked ahead. Han followed a few steps behind, trying to catch the subtle curve of Eugene's neck beneath tousled hair. Han's eyes lingered on Eugene's longer than he meant to. Suddenly, Eugene stopped and jabbed Han's arm lightly. "You're looking at me too much," he said, scanning the quiet shore. People's eyes are here, you know? Han blinked, a little caught off guard. The words were teasing, but beneath them lay something softer, something that made Han feel exposed. Eugene's grin softened. You embarrassed? Han forced a smile. Eugene nudged him gently. They stepped closer to the water's edge, where pebbles glistened damply under the muted light. Han inhaled deeply, steadying himself amid the cool hush and distant waves. Eugene glanced over. Their eyes met. Stillness stretched between them. No words needed. Han shifted beside Eugene, the damp sand cool beneath their feet. His heart was steady, but loud in his chest. He wanted to say the words, the one that might change everything. He looked at Eugene, eyes searching. The moment hung on the edge of a breath. A bright splash of color bounced nearby. A beach ball slipped from a child's grasp and rolled toward them. The child shouted, feet pounding on sand as he chased after it. Han blinked. Eugene smiled, watching the chase. The moment shattered like a wave pulling back. Han hesitated, swallowed. The moment broke. The question remained unspoken. Near the edge of the shore, they slipped into a small beachside eatery, wooden table worn by salt air and countless meals. They sat close to a window, sunlight filtering through fishing nets, and drying squid hung overhead. A steaming bowl of seaweed soup was set before each of them, rich, salty, flecked with tender stripes of seaweed and tofu. Han stirred his seaweed soup, stealing glances at Eugene. The words were there, just beneath the surface. He opened his mouth to say something, then stopped. Before he could try again, the shop's old lady approached. Eugene, how's the family farm doing these days? She said warmly, hands folded. Eugene smiled politely, shrugging. Keeping busy, as always. Han smiled awkwardly, words still caught. The lady nodded knowingly. Then she left them, leaving a gentle quiet in her wake. Han tried again, voice low. So, about earlier, but Eugene shook his head slightly, a quiet signal to hold off. After their quiet lunch by the sea, the sun was beginning to dip, casting long shadows over the sand. Nearby, the farm's old pickup truck waited. Han climbed into the driver's seat, Eugene sliding in beside him. The drive back was calm and steady. The quiet between them wasn't uncomfortable, just familiar and slow, like the afternoon light fading around them. Han glanced over, gathering courage. Hey, before Han could finish, Eugene reached out, flicked on the radio. This is my favorite, Eugene said softly. The intro of Tangerine Pop pulsed gently. Han smiled, letting the music speak for him. When they reached the farm, the sun bathed the tangerine trees in a soft golden glow. Han pushed open the barn door, inhaling the warm, earthy scent inside. Eugene followed closely, ready to finish the day's work. The sun had slipped behind the hills, the orchard softened into shadows. Han kicked off his shoes by the door. Eugene followed quietly, settling near the bed. The room held the quiet they hadn't spoken all day, and in that silence, everything waited. They washed up quietly, cool water on their hands, the faint scrape of towels. Han caught Eugene's reflection in the mirror for a moment. No words, just a shared look. The bedroom was dim, Only a silver of moonlight spilled through the window, tracing patterns across wooden floor. Han and Eugene sat side by side at the edge of the bed, not touching, not speaking, just breathing. The quiet stretched. Han's gaze flicked to Eugene's, catching the way his shoulder rose and fell with each breath. He wanted to reach out, to ask the question that lingered like a whisper in the dark. But the words wouldn't come. Instead, Han shifted closer, just enough for Eugene to notice. Their knees brushed. Eugene's eyes met Han's. A slow smile traced Eugene's lips. Han returned it. The night held them softly, a moment suspended between what was said and what was waiting to be. Han took a breath, gathering courage. "Are we boyfriends?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. Eugene looked at him, eyes steady and warm. "Yeah, but in 1 month, he said. "I know," Han replied. No more words were needed. Han leaned in, their lips meeting in a soft, deliberate kiss. When they parted, Han smiled. He reached over and flicked off the bedside lamp. "Now let's get to the fun part." Sometimes the hardest questions stay unspoken. Sometimes the moments that matter most slip quietly past us. But even in that silence, something shifts, something grows. Han and Eugene are standing on the edge of something new, and it's just the beginning. Thank you for listening to Beneath the Tangerine Trees, Chapter 4. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Your support means the world. We'll see you soon for the next chapter. Until then, let the quiet between words carry you.
Every move's got a beat, every glance so